My dear friends, beloved souls on the path of self-realization, today I wish to speak with you about a subject that touches the lives of all who walk the spiritual path, and indeed, all who seek to live with integrity and purpose in this world. It is the matter of jealousy and envy, not the jealousy that may arise within our own hearts, which we must vigilantly guard against, but rather the jealousy that others may harbor toward us as we progress on our journey toward the divine. You see, dear ones, as you grow in spiritual understanding, as you cultivate success in your endeavors, as you radiate the inner joy that comes from communion with God, you will inevitably encounter those whose hearts have not yet been purified by divine love. These souls, still caught in the grip of ego consciousness, may look upon your light and feel not inspiration, but a painful sense of their own perceived inadequacy. This is the root of jealousy, a disease of the soul that causes one to resent the good fortune, talents, or spiritual progress of another. It is not our purpose to judge these individuals harshly, for they are our brothers and sisters, struggling as we all have struggled. But it is wisdom to recognize the signs of jealousy, so that we may protect our peace, maintain our spiritual equilibrium, and perhaps, through our understanding and compassion, help to heal the jealous heart. Let me share with you 9 unmistakable signs that someone harbors jealousy and envy toward you. Before we begin, if you enjoy this video, give me a like. Let's dive deep together. First sign. They offer praise mixed with subtle criticism. The jealous person, dear friends, is caught in a terrible inner conflict. A part of them recognizes your accomplishments and feels compelled to acknowledge them, for to ignore them entirely would reveal their envy too obviously. Yet their ego cannot bear to offer pure, wholehearted praise. And so, what emerges is a peculiar mixture. A compliment wrapped in criticism, like honey laced with poison. They may say to you, "Oh, you've done so well in your work, but of course you've had so many advantages." Or, "Your meditation practice is impressive, though I wonder if you're perhaps becoming too withdrawn from the world." Do you see? They give with one hand and take away with the other. This is what I call the compliment with a dagger. The jealous soul cannot help but diminish your light even as they acknowledge it. They must find some way to elevate themselves in comparison, to soothe the burning wound of their own insecurity. When you encounter such behavior, do not become disturbed. Simply recognize it for what it is, a cry of pain from a soul that has not yet learned that another's success does not diminish their own potential. In the infinite abundance of God's universe, there is room for all to shine. The sun does not begrudge the moon its light, nor does the rose envy the lotus its beauty. Each has its own divine purpose and glory. Second sign. They imitate you excessively while denying your influence. Here is a curious phenomenon I have observed many times, dear ones. The jealous person will often begin to copy your manner of dress, your way of speaking, your methods of work, or your spiritual practices. Yet if you or anyone else points out the similarity, they will vehemently deny that you have had any influence upon them whatsoever. This behavior reveals the deep contradiction within the jealous heart. On one level, they admire you so greatly that they wish to absorb your qualities and achievements. They see something in you that they desire for themselves. But their ego cannot tolerate the admission that they are learning from you or following your example, for this would require humility, the acknowledgement that you possess something they lack. And so they take from you while refusing to honor the source. They drink from your well while claiming they have found their own spring. When you observe this pattern, respond with compassion rather than confrontation. Understand that imitation, even when unacknowledged, is a form of flattery. The jealous person is actually paying you a great compliment, though they cannot admit it even to themselves. Perhaps in time, as their consciousness evolves, they will develop the humility to acknowledge their teachers and inspirations with gratitude. Third sign. They celebrate your failures and minimize your successes. This, my dear friends, is perhaps the most painful sign of jealousy to witness. for it reveals a heart that has strayed far from the divine qualities of love and goodwill. When you experience a setback, a disappointment, or a failure, the jealous person will barely conceal their satisfaction. You may notice a slight smile, a brightness in their eyes, or an eagerness to discuss your misfortune. They may offer sympathy in words, but their energy betrays their true feelings. They are relieved, even pleased, because your stumble makes them feel better about their own position. Conversely, when you achieve success, they will find ways to diminish it. Oh, that promotion? Well, the company was probably just desperate to fill the position. Or, your meditation experience sounds nice, but true spiritual awakening is much more profound than that. They cannot allow your victories to stand in their full glory, for each of your successes is a mirror that reflects their own sense of inadequacy. This behavior stems from a fundamental misunderstanding of the nature of reality. The jealous person believes in scarcity, that there is only so much success, happiness, or spiritual attainment available, and that your portion somehow reduces what is available to them. They have not yet grasped the infinite abundance of the divine, the truth that God's blessings are limitless and that one soul's ascension lifts all of humanity. When you encounter such a person, guard your heart but do not close it. Continue to wish them well, to pray for their spiritual awakening. Your success need not be diminished by their inability to celebrate it. The divine sees all, knows all, and your true worth is not determined by the opinions of those still trapped in ego consciousness. Fourth sign. They compete with you in unnecessary ways. The jealous individual, dear ones, will turn every interaction into a competition, even when no competition exists or is appropriate. If you mention that you woke early for meditation, they will inform you that they woke even earlier. If you share a spiritual insight, they must immediately share one they consider more profound. If you speak of helping someone, they must tell of their greater charitable works. This compulsive need to outdo you in every arena reveals a soul that has lost sight of the true purpose of life. They have forgotten that we are not here to compete with one another, but to cooperate in the great work of spiritual evolution. We are all climbing the same mountain toward God realization, and whether one person reaches a particular height before another is of no ultimate significance. What matters is that we all continue climbing, supporting one another along the way. The jealous person has made you their measuring stick, their standard of comparison. They cannot simply be themselves and walk their own path. They must constantly evaluate their progress in relation to yours. This is an exhausting and ultimately futile endeavor, for each soul has its own unique journey, its own lessons to learn, its own pace of development. When someone relates to you in this competitive manner, do not be drawn into their game. Refuse to compete. Simply continue on your path with humility and dedication, knowing that your only true competition is with your own lower nature. Your only real goal is union with the divine. Fifth sign. They gossip about you or spread rumors. Dear friends, here we encounter one of the most destructive manifestations of jealousy: the spreading of gossip and false rumors. The jealous person, unable to diminish your light through direct means, will attempt to tarnish your reputation through whispered words and insinuations. They may share information about you that was told in confidence, but with a negative spin added. They may exaggerate your faults and minimize your virtues when speaking to others. They may even fabricate stories entirely, projecting their own shadow qualities onto you. This behavior is particularly insidious because it works in darkness, behind your back. You may not even be aware that your reputation is being undermined until the damage has been done. The jealous person knows that they cannot compete with you openly, and so they resort to these cowardly tactics, attempting to bring you down to their level through deception. Why do they do this? Because, dear ones, they hope that by diminishing you in the eyes of others, they will elevate themselves by comparison. They believe that if they can convince others that you are not as worthy, as talented, or as spiritually advanced as you appear, then they will look better in contrast. But here is the great truth they do not understand. one cannot build oneself up by tearing others down. The foundation of such an edifice is rotten, and it will not stand. True greatness comes from lifting others up, from celebrating their successes, from supporting their growth. When you discover that someone has been gossiping about you, resist the temptation to retaliate in kind. Do not descend to their level. Instead, continue to live with such integrity that the truth of your character becomes self-evident to all who know you. As I have often said, the best way to overcome darkness is to increase the light. Sixth sign: they are overly interested in your life while sharing little of their own. The jealous person, my dear friends, will often display an intense curiosity about every detail of your life. Your work, your relationships, your spiritual practices, your plans and aspirations. They will ask many questions, probe for information, and seem fascinated by your every move. Yet notice this: when you inquire about their own life, they become vague, evasive, or quickly turn the conversation back to you. They are not interested in genuine mutual sharing and connection. Rather, they are gathering intelligence, monitoring your progress, measuring themselves against you. This one-sided interest is not the healthy curiosity of a true friend who cares about your well-being. It is the surveillance of a competitor, the watchfulness of one who fears being left behind. They need to know what you are doing so they can either copy it, compete with it, or find ways to undermine it. A true friend, dear ones, engages in reciprocal sharing. They are interested in your life because they love you, and they share their own life because they trust you. The relationship is balanced, mutual, and rooted in genuine care. But the jealous person creates an imbalanced dynamic, always taking information but rarely giving, always watching but never truly connecting. When you recognize this pattern, you may choose to become more private about your affairs with this individual. There is no need to feed their jealousy with constant updates about your progress and achievements. Share your life with those who celebrate you, who support you, who wish you well. Protect your energy and your peace. Seventh sign: they undermine your confidence with false concern. This is a particularly subtle form of jealousy, dear friends, and it requires discernment to recognize. The jealous person will approach you with apparent concern, but their words are designed to plant seeds of doubt in your mind. They may say, "Are you sure you're ready for that promotion? I'd hate to see you take on too much and fail." Or, "I worry that you're becoming too focused on your spiritual practice. Are you sure you're not neglecting other important areas of your life?" Or, "That's a bold decision you're making. I hope you've really thought it through, because it could go very wrong." Do you see the pattern? They frame their undermining as care, their doubt sowing as wisdom, their discouragement as protection. But the true intent is to shake your confidence, to make you question yourself, to hold you back from growth and achievement. This behavior is particularly damaging because it can be difficult to recognize and even harder to confront. If you express that their words are hurtful, they will likely respond with surprise and hurt feelings of their own. "But I was only trying to help. I care about you and don't want to see you get hurt." Yet true support, dear ones, looks very different. A genuine friend or well-wisher will express any concerns they have while still affirming their faith in you. They will say, "This is a big step and I want to make sure you've considered all angles. But I believe in you and I know you'll make the right decision." They build you up even as they encourage thoughtfulness. The jealous person, by contrast, focuses only on the potential for failure, the reasons for doubt, the dangers ahead. They want you to stay small, to play it safe, to remain at their level rather than rising above it. When you encounter such false concern, trust your inner guidance. Listen to the voice of your own soul, which knows your true capacity and potential. Surround yourself with those who believe in you, who encourage your growth, who celebrate your courage to reach for higher goals. Eighth sign: they cannot offer genuine happiness for your joy. Here, my beloved friends, we come to perhaps the most telling sign of all. When something wonderful happens to you, when you experience a moment of pure joy, a significant achievement, a spiritual breakthrough, Observe carefully how this person responds. The jealous individual cannot share in your happiness. They may force a smile, offer congratulations in words, but their energy is flat. Their eyes are dull. Their body language is closed. There is no genuine warmth, no authentic celebration, no true joy for your joy. You may feel, in their presence, that you must diminish your own happiness, downplay your success, apologize for your good fortune. This is because their jealousy creates an atmosphere in which your light is unwelcome. Your joy is an affront. Your success is a threat. Contrast this with the response of a true friend, a genuine well-wisher, a spiritually evolved soul. When you share good news with such a person, their face lights up, their energy expands. They embrace you with authentic delight. They are genuinely happy because you are happy. Your joy increases their joy, for they understand the fundamental unity of all souls. They know that when one rises, all are lifted. This capacity for genuine happiness at another's success is called mudita in the Buddhist tradition. Sympathetic joy. It is one of the highest spiritual qualities, a sign of a heart that has transcended ego and merged with divine love. The jealous person has not yet developed this quality. They are still trapped in the illusion of separation, still believing that your gain is their loss. When you recognize that someone cannot celebrate your joy, it is a clear sign to be cautious about how much of your inner life you share with them. Reserve your most precious moments, your deepest joys, your greatest victories for those who can truly honor them. Do not cast your pearls before those who cannot appreciate their value. Ninth sign. They distance themselves when you succeed. Finally, dear ones, we come to the sign that often causes the most pain. The jealous person will withdraw from you, create distance, or even end the relationship entirely when you achieve significant success or make substantial spiritual progress. You may have considered this person a friend, perhaps even a close friend. You have shared your journey with them, supported them through their challenges, celebrated their victories. But when your own success reaches a certain level, when you receive a major promotion, achieve recognition in your field, experience a profound spiritual awakening, or in some way rise to a new level, suddenly they become distant. They stop calling, stop responding to your messages, make excuses not to meet. If you do see them, there is a coldness, a formality, a barrier that was not there before. The friendship that once seemed solid has become strained or has dissolved entirely. This happens, my dear friends, because your success has become too painful for them to witness. Every interaction with you is a reminder of what they feel they lack, what they have not achieved, where they have fallen short. Rather than face these uncomfortable feelings and do the inner work necessary to transform them, they choose the easier path of avoidance. In some cases, they may even become openly hostile, finding reasons to criticize you, picking fights, or making accusations. This is their ego's desperate attempt to justify the distance they are creating, to make you the villain in the story so they can feel righteous in their withdrawal. This is perhaps the most painful manifestation of jealousy because it involves the loss of a relationship. But understand this, a relationship that cannot survive your success was never built on a solid foundation. True friendship, true love, true spiritual fellowship can withstand any change in external circumstances. It celebrates growth, welcomes evolution, and remains constant through all the ups and downs of life. When someone distances themselves from you because of your success, bless them and release them with love. Do not chase after them. Do not diminish yourself to make them comfortable. Do not apologize for your growth. Trust that the divine is rearranging your relationships to align with your highest good, removing those who cannot support your journey and bringing in those who can. Conclusion. Responding with wisdom and compassion. My dear friends, I have shared these 9 signs with you not to make you paranoid or suspicious of others, but to give you the wisdom to recognize jealousy when it appears and to respond to it with spiritual maturity. Remember always that jealousy is a form of suffering. The jealous person is in pain, trapped in the prison of their own ego, tormented by feelings of inadequacy and fear. They deserve our compassion, not our condemnation. They need our prayers, not our judgment. At the same time, compassion does not mean allowing yourself to be diminished, undermined, or drained by another's jealousy. You have a responsibility to protect your peace, to guard your spiritual progress, to maintain healthy boundaries. You can be compassionate from a distance. You can wish someone well while limiting your interaction with them. Continue to walk your path with humility, integrity, and dedication to the divine. Do not let the jealousy of others dim your light or slow your progress. You are not responsible for managing other people's emotions or making yourself smaller so they can feel bigger. Instead, let your success, your joy, your spiritual radiance be a beacon that inspires others to seek their own divine potential. Some will be inspired and uplifted by your example. Others, still caught in ego consciousness, will respond with jealousy. This is not your concern. Your concern is to remain true to your highest self, to continue growing toward God realization, to spread love and light wherever you go. And always remember, in the eyes of the divine, there is no competition, no comparison, no hierarchy of worth. Each soul is infinitely precious, infinitely loved, infinitely capable of realizing its divine nature. The jealous person has simply forgotten this truth. Perhaps your loving example, your refusal to respond to jealousy with jealousy, your steady radiance of divine peace, will help them remember.